Ladies and gentlemen, welcome wrestling fans worldwide to Knoxville and the Great Smoky Mountains for the Ron Fuller Tennessee Studcast.
6 feet 9 inches tall, 265 pounds.
This historic podcast from one of the most respected and successful wrestlers and promoters will follow the footsteps of the largest and oldest wrestling family on the planet.
Listen to what I'm saying. That's right. Bring that camera in here a little bit closer.
Through 93 years and 4 generations.
The stud has arrived.
Old school or new fan, this unique broadcast will educate and captivate as Ron details decades of professional wrestling's growth with truly unforgettable stories.
I want those people out there at home to hear the stud.
Sit back and enjoy the ride with the Tennessee Stud.
The Tennessee Stud. You will learn that name. You will remember it.
And now,
the stud is here.
Hey everybody, welcome in. It's another Studcast with the Tennessee Stud, Ron Fuller. I'm David Summers, and here comes the story of wrestling in America as told by the Stud, whose family started the profession over 100 years ago. So now, let's step back into the ring and back into time. Let's get wall-to-wall and tree-top tall with the Tennessee Stud, Ron Fuller. Hey, Ron, I got to tell you, I'm pretty fired up about this Studcast, especially since you told me you think is it one of the best you have ever done. And listen, everybody knows that's a monumental statement considering you've almost done 400 of these by now. This is episode number 393. But what really got me fired up was when you said to make this Studcast available to everyone absolutely free. Good move on that.
Well, that's correct, Dave. And I've worked on this one. As I started working on this particular one, I began to see pretty much right away just how much fantastic content there was going to be in this hour compared to most of these Studcasts. Things like this, Southeastern was finalizing a deal to sell part of the company to International Sports Incorporated, a hugely successful conglomerate. And as part of that deal, we were having 2 world champions on the same Southeastern TV show. So the card for that show was once in a lifetime one, man, with 2 world title matches and other matches of almost every kind. And it was going to be producing the biggest 4 days at the box office in Southeastern history. And to top it all off, the actual TV show for this card from 44 years ago was loaded with talent. And I had the rare opportunity to pick and choose which video clips I wanted to add to make this, without a doubt, the best Studcast ever.
Yeah.
I've spent basically, Dave, 8 wonderful years, I'd have to say, of my life telling my fans my story. And I want to give this amazing Studcast basically to all of them. And it's Studcast number 393. And it's called Breaking the Bank, and I'm going to make it free everywhere I can. On my website, TN Stud, it's going to be there free under the Studcast. All they have to do is go to Studcast, click on there, and find that sucker. It's down at the end, 393. On my YouTube Southeastern Rewind channel, it's going to be there for free. On my Ron Fuller, the Tennessee Stud Facebook page, it's going to be free there. And if you're not already on that page, all you need to do is to get there, is like the Tennessee Stud, and you get free. You get it free. It's also going to be on all the podcast outlets that I used to be on, free, even though they may not be able to see it because the platform is not video capable. Right. They'll still be able to hear the video segments. And I encourage those fans out there that are really interested to go to my YouTube Southeastern Rewind. If you can't hear these, if you can't see these videos, and you'll be able to see them. And there's going to be 7 videos in this special Studcast.
Yeah, that's cool. And you say if you're listening in podcast form, you can't see it. Listen, some folks can see it riding down the road because the descriptions from the announcers back then, whether it's Charlie Platt and Les Thatcher, they do a tremendous job of calling these matches. All right, but listen, This is going to be fun for everybody, and I think one of the best ever. So everybody should be looking for Studcast number 393. It's called Breaking the Bank. Since the last Studcast, Ron, I've been thinking about that tremendous card you gave us at the end of last week's Studcast for this Studcast. I thought, okay, dude, this is going to be a great show. I called you dude. Sorry. Well, I guess that's okay because
that's okay then.
You're a few hundred miles away from me, and I am safe from the Fuller leg lock. So, all right. 2 world championship matches, as well as many more title matches, a loser leaves match, and so much more on it. I had a feeling this card was going to be one of the last times fans in Southeastern were going to have a chance to see the man who I thought was absolutely the personification of professional wrestling, the best ever, NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Harley Race. How about that?
Well, man, yeah, I know how you feel about him, man, and so do a lot of others, and basically, Dave, nobody at that time knew it, but probably, I doubt Harley knew it himself, that his reign as champion was beginning to fade away at this point. He was 5 times NWA World Champion. He had held that belt for more than 4 years and 1 month on this date of March the 9th, 1981. That's the date of this Studcast and the TV show that promoted it. And he spent those first 4 nights, one out of every 5 defending his title once he came to Southeastern for this trip. And he would only hold that title 6 more months before he was going to lose it to Ric Flair.
Wow, I love these conversations about Harley, and I could talk about him as an entire Studcast. I wish we could do that sometime. But I would like to hear that tremendous card again that was going to start in Birmingham on Monday, March 9th, 1981. Take us back to that. And 3 other Alabama cities in the next 4 days after that.
Well, before we go there, Dave, I want to tell fans how much the TV shows of my 3 wrestling companies that I've recently found, basically in the last couple of months, been able to start my streaming channel, and how it's basically changed my life, man. And it's certainly changed my Studcast. There's nothing like the feeling I get now when I'm now able to show fans exactly what I used to only be able to do by telling it to them. Now they can actually see these matches. And so it just makes a tremendous difference. This Studcast is a great example of what I'm talking about. It has 7 videos in it and more than 20 minutes of matches and interviews that I would have never seen again had it not been for my TennesseeStudStreaming.com channel. And basically, man, I got the feeling that there's nothing more powerful than the actual TV shows from years ago, especially since the sport has changed so dramatically between now and then. Mm-hmm. And then speaking of powerful, Dave, this card that you're talking about in the second week of March 1981 was just that, man, with all kinds of matches and wrestlers feuding with each other. The opening match was a newcomer from Russia, Chris Markov, facing Brad Armstrong, who in himself was a tremendous young talent and was going to go on to become the Rookie of the Year. The same thing that his father had done in 1965. Bob was also Rookie of the Year in 1965.
Wow.
So then in the next match, the first of 5 championship matches, Robert Gibson, future rock and roll fame, was getting to try his first try at the new United States Junior Heavyweight Champion, Stan Lane, who himself was headed for greatness. We need to go back 1 week and look at the next match. My brother Robert was the current booker of the Georgia Territory in early 1981 and returned to Southeastern to face his cousin Jimmy Golden, the man who had turned on me weeks earlier. And this was basically a fighting family feud, I guess is a good way to put it. And Golden, was not man enough to get the job done on Rob alone. And so Big Ron Bass, who is another big name in wrestling back in those days, came to the ring and helped Golden, hurt his cousin, and they hurt Rob that night, and he was not going to be coming back for quite a while. Just as they had done to me, basically, a couple months earlier. Mm. So Ron Slinker was a well-known karate champion. Actually, he was a national karate champion, and one of the only wrestlers watching this match with Robert and Jimmy, and saw what happened, and he went down to ringside. Sadly, he didn't get there in time to help Rob from getting hurt, but he did get there in time to hit Golden with a karate chop in the throat that put Golden on the floor, and he had to be carried back on the shoulder of Ron Bass to the dressing room.
Wow.
I guess that humiliation will come up again later in this Studcast, but it created the next match on this supercard, and that was going to be a loser leaves Southeastern match between Jimmy Golden and Ron Slinker.
All right, Ron, I'm beginning to see why you call this a supercard. You were only 3 matches into this thing, and already there's a loser leaves match. Okay, so what came next on this card?
It was absolutely loaded with great talent. Norvell Austin, along with his renowned tag partner, world-renowned, I should say, Paul Orndorff, had won the Southeastern belts on TV about a month earlier, and Norvell was injured immediately after the win by the former champions, Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose, who are themselves going to be the future Midnight Express. So there's all kinds of famous teams here, famous wrestlers. Norvell was returning on this card for the first time since his injury for their first title defense against Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose, the 2 men that had injured him. Then in the next championship match on this card, happened to as a result of another championship match held on two weeks TV 2 weeks earlier. And it was for the Alabama State Championship of Masa Saito, one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers in the world. There's another great talent. And he was going to be facing the man he won the belt from, Bob Armstrong. And in this TV match, the referee on television that happened a couple of weeks before this card, the referee was accidentally hit, and he went down as Bob Armstrong and Saito both went flying out of the ring, and on the floor outside the ring, Bob put Saito in his sleeper hold. And Saito's best buddies, here they come again, Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey, came out of the dressing room. They hit Bob from behind with a wooden board that knocked him unconscious. Then they went back into the dressing room. Referee didn't see any of this. Saito picked up Bob, threw him back into the ring, got in there, and put the sleeper hold on him like he had put him to sleep. And the referee recovered about that time, and he started checking Bob to see if he was truly asleep. And he was about to award the match to Saito when a second referee stopped him. And that championship was held up, obviously, because there shouldn't have been a winner. And that Alabama belt was going to be given to the winner of the match on this big card with Bob Armstrong, another one of the great matches on it, against Masa Saito for the Alabama title. 6th match of the night was for the World Junior Heavyweight Championship, the first of 2 World Championship matches on this card. Jerry Stubbs had been a heel for years. When he won Les Thornton's belt a couple of months earlier, in January of 1981, Stubbs was also friends with Condrey and Rose. So 2 weeks before those two, meaning Condrey and Rose, hit Bob Armstrong with that wooden board, that they turned on Stubbs, and they hit him with one, and actually opened a wound that took 15 stitches to close. And, that really changed Stubbs completely. And since then, he had become a totally new wrestler due to the actions of Condrey and Rose. So on this on this super card here that we're talking about, Stubbs was going to be defending his World Junior Heavyweight belt against a former champion from England, Les Thornton. And then in the last match of the night, the new Southeastern champion, Ken Lucas, was facing maybe the best world champion of all time, I really believe, Harley Race.
Well, that was an absolutely fantastic card, and you recapped almost everything that had happened in the last month or so. All right, so are you ready to tell us about the TV show that was going to try and cover all of this?
Yeah, so I'm going to get to that show, Dave. But actually, Dave, there was something else very big going on in the Southeastern Company during this time frame. For the first time since we opened the Southeastern Gulf Coast Territory in 1978, and after the sale of Southeastern's Northern Territory in Tennessee in the fall of 1979, it was going to be the first time all 5 partners had committed themselves to move to Pensacola and run that territory. And in the past year, from the spring of 1980 into the spring of 1981, where we are now in this Studcast, Southeastern had exploded in popularity. We had been approached by an international sports company in February of 1981. They wanted to buy us out because of our phenomenal growth, and then several other reasons. And since there was 5 of us involved, and we all loved where we were at that point and how good we were doing, we couldn't all come to an agreement to totally sell out. So we decided to make this company an offer to sell them 45% of the Southeastern, with an agreement with the buyers to let us continue to run the territory, with the caveat that we could buy back the 45% anytime we wanted to for exactly what they paid for it, and they could never sell it to anybody else.
Wow. Okay. I vaguely remember a mention one time, maybe on TV, of some kind of sale, but I didn't think much about it at the time, I guess.
Well, that's kind of what we wanted to happen. We wanted fans to never really discover so many of us owned the company. This highly publicized sale to an international sports company covered all that up. And on the same TV show in March of 1981, that promoted the supercard I just described.
Okay, so it sounds like this sale of part of the company was going to hide Southeastern's true ownership for years into the future. I mean, that fact alone made this particular week even more important, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And I also want to say, when I got to looking at this TV show, it may have been the most loaded one in Southeastern history. It has a little bit of everything in it, including 2 world champions, the introduction of one of the biggest sports entities in the world at that time, and angles with almost everybody.
Okay, so I've been looking forward to it, but I had no idea all of this was in this TV show and in this supercard in March of 1981. So how did this TV show open up? How did it start off?
Well, because there was so many big things happening on this TV show, basically like 2 world champions on the same TV. I mean, that hardly ever happened anywhere. We had to open up with something unique, I felt like, for this show, and we did just that. And that's going to bring us to the first video in this Studcast. And I hate to say it, but the video is not the best. The quality of the video portion, especially, because this was shot 44 years ago. But what the gentleman had to say in this is well worth it. Charlie Platt pre-recorded this special opening for this TV show exclusively with the CEO of International Sports Incorporated, a guy named Ardell Neal.
Okay, I can't wait to see this. So how many wrestling shows in the world would have something like this on it? All right, our producer Brian is going to set it up and roll it right now. Here it is.
It's my privilege today to introduce a gentleman to the Southeastern wrestling fans throughout the Southeastern Wrestling Television Network, Mr. Ardell Neal. He's a chairman of the board for International Sports Incorporated, a promotion company who has, in this past week, purchased the wrestling rights of Southeastern Championship Wrestling. First of all, welcome to the set today, Ardell.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
And International Sports Incorporated now purchased Southeastern Championship Wrestling. It is a big sports promotion company, and maybe some of the fans would like to know some of the other sporting events promoted by your firm.
Sumo wrestling in Japan is one, and rugby of Australia, also soccer in Germany.
Also, I know for a fact that International Sports Incorporated is very active here in the United States in promoting stock car racing all around the country.
Correct.
Also, I'm sure the fans and would like to know what, as far as prize money in the future and promotion of wrestling in this area, we can look forward to.
Well, it's been said that there's approximately $100,000 that's been spent in the previous year, and understanding that they have done a tremendous job, we plan on at least trying to say that we're going to spend at least $300,000 in prizes and special events and what have you.
That's coming up in the next year here in the Southeastern Wrestling area.
That's correct.
A lot of excitement over this purchase of International Sports Incorporated. Why you picked the Southeastern Wrestling area for a purchase for the rights of wrestling in this area? Is there any particular reason why International Sports chose Southeastern Wrestling?
Yes, sir, it is, and it's a pleasure to make this statement that throughout my travels and a lot of speculations all over the country, and with the recommendation of and the knowledge of the great job the wrestlers have done in this area, we decided to choose this area.
I know that was probably a large purchase price involved in the total Southeastern area.
Well, I might say this, it is one of the largest purchases we've made so far.
Mr. Ardell Neal is chairman of the board of International Sports Incorporated, the new purchaser of Southeastern Championship Wrestling, and looking forward to working with you in the future.
My pleasure to be here and looking forward to be with you from time to time.
Thank you very much.
I got to tell you, Ron, that was an amazing piece of video and something most territory owners would never make public. So what you guys were accomplishing during that time was just as amazing, in my opinion. All right, so what was up next?
Well, we had Charlie and Les go right to something that definitely may have been another first. They were not one, but two world champions live on that show, Harley Race and Les Thornton. Harley Race was going to follow the introduction of the International Sports Incorporated with a personal endorsement of their credibility, man. So that was going to be, let's take a look at this. That's going to be the second video in this Studcast.
You know, Ron, that's pretty cool. You were going to have the new company being complimented by the NWA World Champion. All right, so our producer, Brian, is going to play this next video for us, and here we go.
For 5 times, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion Harley Race. He defends his title all over this country and in many foreign countries like Australia, Japan, Mexico.
Well, this is a great pleasure to be here on this television with the junior heavyweight champion, because it gives the people a chance to see the classic difference between the junior heavyweight and the heavyweight. I am the world's heavyweight champion. I've been that 5 times around. I've wrestled all over the world. And again, let me congratulate International Sports on putting all this together to have on their first television show. Both champions. I've been around, like I say, around the world 500,000 times. And I saw the organization at work in Japan. I saw it at work in Australia, New Zealand. And they do a great job of promotion. They put, well, like here today, 2 world champions at one time. It's absolutely fantastic.
The 2 best in pro wrestling, world junior champion Les Thornton and the heavyweight champion Harley Race.
I got to tell you, this is getting more crazy every minute. That was an amazing endorsement of your new partners. No wonder you wanted all your fans to get this Studcast. It's almost impossible to follow that. All right, but what was next on this TV show?
Well, even Charlie and Les were blown away by this opening and what had gone down when they pieced it together. But it was a part of them. They had a frame that it kind of set their mindset to brag a little bit, especially when they found out that the first match on the show that was coming up was going to be with the former world junior heavyweight champion, Les Thornton, wrestling on TV. And sitting at the set with them while that was going on was going to be the new world junior champion, Jerry Stubbs.
All right, you were not kidding, were you, Stud? All right, that certainly made International Sports Incorporated look good. So the present NWA world champion promoting them and the former world junior heavyweight champion in the ring for the first TV match. So how did that match go?
But we wanted to make this TV really special. So to give Thornton some real competition, we brought in Robert Gibson's brother, Ricky, who was one of the best junior heavyweights in the world. And wow, was it worthwhile. We got a world-class match between Ricky Gibson and Les Thornton. Stubbs was really pushing for Ricky to get the win during the course of this match. He was at the set with Charlie and them. But in the end, he had to give the devil his due, Thornton his due, basically, because Thornton got a win over Ricky Gibson right in the middle of the ring.
Wow. Okay, so what happened after that match?
Jerry Stubbs returned to the dressing room, and Les Thornton went to the set with Charlie and Les. And he told everyone that he had heard about what had happened to Jerry Stubbs since he was here the last time. And he said he was glad to hear that Jerry had changed his style of wrestling, which was a really nice compliment, nice thing to say. Then he really picked things up. He invited Stubbs, who had left the set, to come back to the set, which Stubbs did. And then he congratulated him and said he looked forward to their 4 matches for the belt in the next 5 days. Jerry had the belt with him, and he threw it over his shoulder, and he shook Thornton's hand. The studio crowd popped, man. It was big. It was the kind of moment that made wrestling special.
What a start to a show. That's awesome. All right, so who was next, Stud?
Well, this is going to be our next video. And I want to describe what was not on the video to set up the actual match. When Masa Saito and his 300-pound masked partner, called the Shadow, came out of the dressing room to go to the ring for that match, the boos from the studio crowd, they rained down on those guys. Wow, they had tremendous heat, especially Saito. Then when the other dressing room door opened, it was the first time fans had seen Norvell in 3 weeks, since he'd been pile drived on that steel chair by Condrey and Rose right after he and Paul beat those guys for the tag team belts. And out walked the Southeastern tag champions, Paul Orndorff and Norvell Austin, with belts around their waist, and that studio crowd went nuts.
All right, I can visualize that, Stud. Norvell was a very likable babyface. Everybody loved him. So I'm sure all the fans were ecstatic to see them together. All right, so our producer Brian is going to knock that out for us and play this classic tag team match. Here we go.
Your attention, please. Our next match, one fall, 10-minute time limit. Introducing in the corner to my left, at a combined weight of 460 pounds, Paul Orndorff and Norvell Austin. Their opponents at a combined weight of 465 pounds, the Shadow and Mr. Saito. Saito and the Shadow, man, we know not a whole lot about his career in pro wrestling, taking on 2 of the favorites from the Southeastern wrestling area, Paul Orndorff and the Junkyard Dog, Norvell Austin.
Norvell Austin looking fit and hearty, Charlie. Coming off that injury, he's back in action, and he and Orndorff do make a very lethal combination. They're tough. And, of course, they're breathing right down the necks of Condrey and Rose with those Southeastern tag belts certainly very much in the picture.
Hammerlock by Orndorff on the Shadow. Over on the ropes, and we have a clean break.
You know, I heard the chairman of the board of International Sports Incorporated mentioning sumo wrestling. I think it's very fitting that one of the men wrestling in this area right now, a former sumo wrestler, Mr. Saito. Right now, the Shadow. On a reversal, it's Orndorff catching his man, dropping the knee. Last man about to pull out, but Orndorff did nail him. Moves in on him now. See how Orndorff right on top of him, like herding a cow, a stubborn bull in the pasture. Saito with a scoop at the takedown. Good hook. Orndorff going for the move to get out. Saito on the ride.
Orndorff going for that leg. Temporarily tripping Saito, but he's back on his feet and goes
double leg. Oh, good one, Charlie. Good one. And, of course, he's a hard man to handle. He's using that strength, that power in low on Orndorff. And we've got two men in there now that both have a lot of power. Both move well.
Into that Boston Crab.
Let's see if Orndorff can use some power to bridge his way out. And he does. Saito and Orndorff matching strength for strength. Pretty even encounter there. Nice firing journey by Paul. In control now. Trapping that arm on the way down. You know, if I were still wrestling, Charlie, Saito wouldn't be a man that I'd pick as one of my favorite opponents. He's tough to handle.
Always amazes me to watch the different styles of this man in the ring.
We see some well-conditioned men in that ring right now. Saito with a nice takedown with the armbar now. Orndorff looking for a handle way out. Takes his man over, but Doriano does hang on. So, nice switch by Paul. Comes up with a hammerlock. We're seeing some good hold and counter-hold wrestling, Charlie.
And the Junkyard Dog will see action against Mr. Saito. Tag is made by Orndorff. Maintains that arm bar. Applying the pressure.
Saito with that chop, breaking his way free. He throws Austin head first into that turnbuckle. Makes the tag. The Shadow moves back in. And I'd say Paul and the Dog are going to have to key on this masked man. He's certainly the unknown quantity in the team of Saito and Shadow.
High hip toss, dropping the elbow, the Shadow. Norvell Austin with a connection to the midsection for the second time. Norvell Austin firing back.
Cross the ring with his man. Drop kick, a nice one by the Dog. And the masked man tags out Saito, moving back in. Looks like Saito picking up the workload here, Charlie, so I'd say that's what the power. Oh, nice leg sweep and takedown. You know, looking at it technically, I never cease to enjoy watching this Saito move in that ring. He's certainly a perfectionist and a great practitioner. And a rugged man. Nice double chop by Saito.
And again, the double chop by Mr. Saito.
Austin coming up slowly. He needs to make that tag. And watch Saito as he places himself between Norvell and Orndorff. Blocking any attempt at the tag, and now going for a nerve hold here. Apparently Larry Brock calling it a chokehold. And again, Saito going into the side of the neck.
And Brock again ruling that is illegal.
And it's a borderline case, Charlie. I don't know, not being close enough to find out which man I would have to go with. Saito cracking him with that chop. And again, the Shadow takes the tag.
Shadow moving in on Austin, takes his man into the ropes. Back body drop.
Masked man shooting that little jab up into the throat of Norvell Austin now, moving in. The man is methodical, takes him into Saito, catches the tag, and as he blocks him,
Saito with that chop to the midsection of Austin.
Nice Russian leg sweep there as Saito takes his man back, hooks him, tries him in, but the dog bails out. Good effort on his part.
And what a match we have here. Excellent tag team action. Look at that Saito.
One of the 101 suplexes and the ways of doing it of Saito as an Austin catches that rope on the 2 count.
Junkyard Dog going to that bottom rope very wisely. And again, the tag is made with the shadow. These men moving in and out very effectively against the team of Orndorff and Austin.
The man Norvell needs to make that tag. He's got the masked man going now. And staggers him with that headbutt. Austin, losing his sense of direction, goes and gets it. Orndorff, the fresh man, moves in and will change the tide of battle.
Former North American heavyweight champion Paul Orndorff then against the shadow. Takes his man into the ropes, coming off.
He's got the masked man on to go. Austin catches the tag now. Look at here. Headbutt sends him crashing to that canvas. Dazed. Austin goes back to him again. And goes to the body slam. Tags Orndorff. They're setting him up here for something, Charlie. Surely they're going to try and put him away.
Orndorff.
Beautiful combination on the suplex with the cradle. His man and gets the pin. Well executed by Paul Orndorff, and it's the dog and Paul coming up with a winner with a shadow and Saito.
Your winners, Paul Orndorff and Norvell Austin.
All right, no doubt about it. Another big win for Orndorff and Austin, and I'm sure a huge concern for Condrey and Rose that they would soon be facing. All right, it was good to see Norvell, who appeared to be fully recovered from that pile driver 3 weeks earlier. Okay, so what came next, Stud?
Well, there was an interview with both teams, Condrey and Rose. They were obviously disappointed to see Norvell looking so healthy, and they made a point of saying that they weren't finished with him. In fact, they promised everybody that they were going to make sure that he was not going to be there a month from now. That basically to run him out of the territory or injure him so badly that he was going to have to leave. Norvell was not pleased by their comments, obviously, and said so. And Paul was on cloud 9, man, having his partner back in the ring with him. They were both looking forward to their next series of tag team matches with Condrey and Rose. And they made a point of saying that bad injuries, since the Condrey and Rose had brought up hurting Norvell, that bad injuries were just a part of the sport. And they said next time it may be Condrey and Rose that gets hurt.
Well, it seems like Condrey and Rose were focused on Norvell Austin in particular. All right, so was the personality profile the next thing? And with all of this talent on the show, it had to be somebody big. So who was on that?
Well, you were right about the great wrestlers available for the profile, man. I mean, on this show, we were absolutely loaded with talent. And we made the decision, basically, in order not to offend any stars, because there were several of them, including 2 world champions, that we were going to let Charlie and Les just discuss everything that was happening on this coming card and in the coming week. And they talked about the surprise sale of Southeastern. They talked about the double world championship matches with Harley Race against Ken Lucas and the present world junior heavyweight champion Jerry Stubbs defending against the former champion from England, Les Thornton. They discussed the situation with the held up Alabama State Championship belt which happened 2 weeks ago between Masa Saito and Bob Armstrong. And when Armstrong was the second wrestler in the last month to get hit by the Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose wooden board team. And then they covered the Condrey and Rose controversy about after losing the belts on TV, after putting Norvell Austin in the hospital and his being unable to wrestle for 3 weeks. Talked about the upcoming loser leave match between Jimmy Golden and Ron Slinker as a result of the Ron Bass and Jimmy Golden teaming against Robert Fuller the week before and injuring him. They even finished in an update with Ron Fuller and the fact that he was winning. He had just won the California Heavyweight Championship in the Grand Olympic Auditorium in Los Angeles the week before.
Wow. Okay, I knew there was a lot going on, but that profile had to be something really special. I don't even remember so much being covered in one personality profile, which was a hugely popular segment. All right, so who was in the next match?
Well, actually, the profile wasn't over, Dave. They even covered the opening 3 matches on this card with a pre-recorded interview from Bob and Brad, who were against Saito, and Brad was going to be against the new Russian Chris Markov, and Robert Gibson was a part of this too, talking about his United States Championship shot, Junior Championship shot at Stan Lane.
All right, Ron, here we go. And Brian, our producer, is going to set that up and play that interview. Here it is.
With me, Bob and Brad Armstrong and Robert Gibson. Bob defends his Alabama state title against Mr. Saito. Robert Gibson goes after the newly acquired U.S. junior title now held by Stan Lane. Brad Armstrong will be taking on the very tough Russian Chris Markov. Before I talk to these gentlemen, let's hear from Stan Lane and Mr. Saito.
Bob Armstrong, you me a lesson many times. Last time you cheat me, take my belt. I'm so hot now. This time, I show you Japanese samurai horse. You're surprised to you.
I understand the rescue squads have been tripled in Birmingham because every time I step in the ring, women pass out. Well, Reuben Gibson, you're going to pass out very shortly too, my friend, because there's no way in the world you're going to take this belt from my waist.
Well, Robert, you've got a chance to be the United States Junior Heavyweight Champion Monday night.
Yeah, Lester, you know that Stan Lane, he sure does sound overconfident, but Stan Lane, I've been to Birmingham a lot of times. I got a good record up there, and I'm coming at you 110% after that Junior Heavyweight Champion. I'm planning on taking it.
Brad, I know you want to get back to that U.S. Junior title rating, and, of course, you've got Chris Markov Monday night.
Yes, sir. If I can get by this guy, maybe Stan Lane will give me another shot at that belt, and that's what I will need.
Good luck to you, Bob. You've got that title back, but, of course, against Saito, it's always tough to hang on to something.
Exactly right, and he's yelling about cheating. Me cheating, where every time I turn around in Birmingham, I'm looking at the Condrey and Rose sisters, whether I'm wrestling them or not. They seem to have formed a terrific trio. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot, brother. I've got the belt. You've got to come and beat me. Condrey and Rose or no Condrey and Rose, it's me and you now. You've got to beat me. Coming after this belt in Birmingham ain't no easy chore. So you just bring on your bad samurai self and your new samurai hold, all your surprises, anything you want, because I've got the belt, you got to beat me, and you can't do it.
Monday night, Birmingham's Boutwell Auditorium, a super Southeastern wrestling lineup. You'll want to be there.
Man, I tell you what, the show was over half finished, and it seemed like it had already had everything in the show. All right, that's crazy, but what was next, Ron?
Well, the third segment was another full one, man. It began with Jimmy Golden at the set, and he was challenging Ron Slinker to a loser-leave match because he and Bass basically had, the week before, destroyed Robert. They hurt Rob pretty badly, and Slinker had hit him. Gordon had hit Golden with that karate blow that knocked him unconscious, and Bass had to carry him back to the dressing room over his shoulder, and he admitted that he was totally humiliated, you know, and so the studio crowd, obviously, they got a huge laugh out of that one, man. Who can't imagine Golden saying he was humiliated? But that kind of brings us to the next video that's in this show. Golden showed a video of a recent match he had with Ken Lucas where Slinker also got involved. So when the video started, Ron Slinker was in the dressing room and only partially dressed for his match that he was scheduled to be on the TV following this video, as a matter of fact. But he watched this video and he got himself so upset that he came to the set before the match even started.
All right, so Brian is going to show us the video of the altercation between Ron Slinker and Jimmy Golden. Here it is.
Wrestling coming out to join us now, Jimmy Golden. Golden, of course, drawing quite a bit of fire from many wrestlers. We have some videotape of a match in which you went against Ken Lucas. Let's roll that tape if we can.
I'm going to tell you something. That sleeper hold, so-called sleeper hold that Ken Lucas just used there on Oksakina is a chokehold. None other than a chokehold and ought to be barred. I'm going to tell you something. I destroyed the Tennessee Stud, and I'm going to destroy Ken Lucas. Right here, I'm putting him away, brother. I'm boxing his jaws. He's bleeding like a sup hog, and I'm going to whip his hind end real good for you, Ken Lucas, before it's all over with. I'm going to tell you that right now. What's the matter, Lucas? You can't stand a little blood coming out of your face? Now, if you look at him right here, the man's hitting me in the face and the nose and the eyes, biting me in the face. Can you imagine that? Is that supposed to be professional wrestling? Lucas don't know what professional wrestling is all about. The man right there in the red trunks does.
Jimmy, certainly you did hurt the Tennessee Stud, Ron Fuller, but because of that, you've got men like Ken Lucas and a lot of them breathing down your neck. Everybody wants a shot at Jimmy Golden.
Rotten Slinker. He stuck his big nose into it, and I'm going to chop his nose off. People's been writing and calling, where's the Tennessee Stud? The Tennessee Stud ain't no more. He's not here anymore. There's only one stud, the super stud, Jimmy Golden.
Excuse me, let me interrupt you. I believe Ron Bass just handed you something outside the ring there.
Bass, I didn't see him hand me nothing. Bass was just there trying to tell the referee what Lucas was doing. You see him right here. There he is, Lucas, back in the ring again. Supposed to be over. Now he's trying to fight Ron Bass. He done jumped on Ron Bass for no reason at all, man. He thinks he can beat two men at one time. He can't beat me. He can't beat nobody. He's a has-been. He's washed up.
Well, Bass has no business actually at ringside, Jim, nor in the ring, for that matter.
What do you mean he's got no business at ringside?
Well, it was a match between
you and... trying to tell the referee what was happening, man. Now, right here, you're going to see this geek jerk Ron Slinker come into the ring and stick his big fat nose into something that doesn't belong. Slinker, I'm going to tell you something, boy. You're going to get hurt real bad. Look at him right here.
Hey, man, wait a minute now. Let me tell you something. You're a backstabber, a liar, and I'm going to take care of you right now. If you want it, you want a piece of me to get in the ring right now.
This boy has got something coming to him. He's been needing it a long time, and I'm fixing to get it for him right now. Boy, you made a mistake tonight. Yeah.
Golden getting help from the blind side as Ron Bass bails into the ring, and Ron Slinker is in a 2-on-1 situation. They're setting him up here. Ken Lucas coming in the ring. Lucas going to work on Golden at back. Being caught in that sweeper, Golden trying to grab Bass and pull him free. Staring at Lucas's eyes now. Golden gets Bass free, and they head for the dressing room. It was Slinker coming out, telling to Golden, and there you see the way Golden operates again. Help from Ron Bass. Bass bailing right in there. Slinker thought he had Golden one-on-one, but that was not the case. Ken Lucas out to help Ron Slinker.
Okay, that was a very unexpected thing to happen, especially on this very important TV show. What did Slinker do about his scheduled match after he and Ken Lucas left the ring?
Well, Slinker went back to the set right away, and he accepted. Golden was in the dressing room. Slinker went back to the set. He accepted Jimmy Golden's challenge for the loser leave match the following week. And then he was half dressed. He went straight on into the ring and destroyed his opponent. It feels like he was fully dressed. He never got an opportunity to get himself dressed properly even before he got into all this.
All right, so this TV show is becoming absolutely amazing. What was in the last segment of the show? I'm assuming that's where we are. Go ahead.
Well, it began with a pre-recorded interview with Ken Lucas, done about his upcoming match with Harley Race.
Okay, and we've got a clip on that. So Brian is going to set that up, and here's that interview with Ken Lucas.
I'd like to take a moment to talk to Ken Lucas. Ken, returning to the Southeastern Wrestling area a couple of weeks ago, you've taken the area by storm, and this is our first chance to really sit down and talk to Ken Lucas and see what's been happening in your career.
Well, it's a pleasure to be back. I just come out of Tennessee, and I had quite a few different titles up there, tag team titles and also single titles. But it's nice to be back down in this area here. I've got a lot of friends and a lot of fans down through this way, and I always try to give 110%. And like I say, I have respect for the fans, and I hope they have respect for me, Charlie.
Take this opportunity to congratulate Ken. In the short time of his return in the Southeastern Wrestling area, he has already captured the very prestigious Southeastern Heavyweight Championship, and I know that's pleasing to you, Ken.
Well, it is pleasing, but anytime you hold a belt like this, you've got a lot of guys gunning for you. I've got right now, Mr. Bass is looking for a return match. Mr. Golden's around. There's Condrey. There's Randy Rose, and they've got some great, very, very tough men here, and I have a lot of respect for all of them. And I know one thing for sure, in professional wrestling, you sell nobody short, because when you do sell somebody short is when you get beat.
Holding on to that belt will be a tough job for Ken Lucas, I'm sure, because, as you just mentioned, tough competition in the area. But the man that has this title around his waist when Harley Race comes to the Southeastern area will be going after the world title.
Well, I've wrestled a lot of world champions, and I've never had one beat me, but I'll say this, that when Mr. Race comes, I hope that I've got this belt, because I have a little score to settle with Mr. Harley Race after a Kansas City episode. And like I say, he's the man that is the world champion. You've got to have respect, and you've got to have a lot of prestige for him, because he is the world's best, and that's what makes the champions like Harley Race.
Wrestling will be coming to Georgiana, Alabama in the very near future, Ken, and you'll be in competition in Georgiana.
Yes, it's a pleasure to go up to that town, too, Charlie, and I'll be seeing a lot of old friends up there, and Ken Lucas come that way.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ken, the Southeastern Heavyweight Champion and a favorite of the fans throughout the Southeastern wrestling area, Ken Lucas. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
All right, Ron, to me, it sounds like something very personal happened between Ken Lucas and Harley Race. This had been, an awesome TV show, Stud. So I can't wait to hear the results of this particular night.
Well, hang on a minute, Dave, because the show ain't over yet.
Wow.
So, we got one more video, man, and it was the last match on this show. And it was a match between Ken Lucas and Oki Shikina.
Did you have extended time on air? This is crazy. You got to be kidding, Ron. All right, this was not over. So Brian is going to play the last video on this spectacular Studcast, and here it is.
Your attention, please. Our next match, one fall, TV time remaining. Introducing in the corner to my left, at 223 pounds, from Las Vegas, Nevada, Ken Lucas. Ken Lucas. His opponent, at 240 pounds, the Japanese destroyer, Oki Shikina. Shikina taking on Ken Lucas. And Shikina on the bell goes on the attack against Luke. Shikina opens right up on his Charlie. And what can be said about Ken Lucas? He's a tough one, and Shikina trying to give it to him now. And here you see it. Luke blasting back, and he can trade him with you any way you want. Goes for a sleeper. He's got it. That tag did Ken Lucas sleeper. A move he has been victorious with a number of times in his career so many times, Charlie, and it looks like it's going to stand him in good stead once again. Larry Brock taking the arm, and there it is. That's it. Shikina is out and gone to sleep as Lucas brings him up, starts the circulation once again, and Ken Lucas, in just a matter of a minute or so, puts away Oki Shikina. Ken Lucas, the winner over Oki Shikina with the Ken Lucas sleeper here on our television edition of Southeastern Championship Wrestling.
All right, I could tell the way Ken Lucas was so fired up. There was something personal about what was coming the next week for him, no doubt. This show has been absolutely amazing. Everything, Ron. So I can't imagine anything more.
Well, get ready. Well, there is one more thing, Dave.
Okay.
Just about the time Lucas put Shikina to sleep in that match, that last match, Harley Race, with his belt, went to the set with Charlie and Les. Now, in fact, Lucas still had the sleeper hold on Shikina in the ring. And so Harley shows up at the desk, and the desk, the set right in the path that Lucas was going to have to take to get back to his dressing room. So when Harley blocked Lucas's path, he then took his 10 pounds of gold and he held it up over his head. Everyone in the building stood up. I mean, there's Lucas face to face with him. And basically Harley's saying, here it is, right? And
wow.
So, gosh, we sent wrestlers from both dressing rooms, man, to get out there, man. what are we going to have a riot here to be at the end of this show, right? So to keep something from breaking out there, Charlie and Les, they didn't have any choice. They could only do one thing at that point. They closed the show, and a magnificent show it was. They had to shut it down, and there it was with Ken Lucas standing face to face with Harley Race.
I can see Charlie Platt doing the wrap it up sign to the director. All right, so I don't know how any wrestling TV show anywhere in the world could have matched this one. As good as the entire show was, that scene at the end with all the wrestlers surrounding Harley and Ken and all hell about to break loose, that was a classic, no doubt. Okay, Ryan, so set us up with what happened in the arenas, the 4 out of 5 nights that had this tremendous card as you take us back to March of 1981.
Well, Brad Armstrong held his own, basically, against a veteran wrestler, man, Russian Chris Markov, good wrestler. In the first match, actually, there was a 15-minute time limit draw. There was a rookie against a Russian that had been in wrestling for 10 years. I mean, wow. Said a lot for Brad. In the United States Junior Heavyweight Championship match, Stan Lane retained his belt, but he had to hold Robert Gibson's trunks to make it happen. Ron Bass was not on the card, but he still managed to get involved in the loser leave match, in which he and Jimmy Golden hurt Ron Slinker so badly that Slinker left Southeastern. He never came back. It was Ron Slinker's last match, the last night of those 4 out of 5 events. Bob Armstrong regained his Alabama championship belt from Masa Saito. Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose became the Southeastern Tag Champions for their 3rd time, defeating Paul Orndorff and Norvell Austin. And then the new World Junior Heavyweight Champion, Jerry Stubbs, lost his first of 4 championship matches to the former champion, Les Thornton. But he was going to regain the belt on the last of those 5 matches, on the 4th match. And Les Thornton was going to go back to England without his belt again.
Wow.
Then in the NWA World Championship match, Harley Race successfully defended his belt in all 4 title matches with Ken Lucas.
Wow, okay, what a night of wrestling that had to be in each of the 4 cities in the Southeastern Territory. And I can always remember a match whenever Harley Race came into town. I could never, for some reason, his presence was so ominous. It was difficult to remember who his opponent was. All right, but how about the attendances as you set it up for us in the 4 cities? The 4 major cities. I remember last week you said there was going to be championship prices in place. How did that go?
Okay, so Birmingham had 6,100 the week before. Its crowd went up almost 1,000 to 7,000 people, 900 people. Mobile, because we were in the big building again, it went from 6,000, which was the maximum that Expo Hall would hold, to 9,300. Montgomery went from 4,600 to 5,400, and Dothan went from 5,100 to 6,000, man.
Wow.
That building was rocking. The total attendance for all 4 of those nights was 27,700 fans. The average ticket price was $2. We did jump the price up because it was championship prices. The average ticket price was $2 more than the usual $6. So it was $8 per seat. That meant that 27,700 attendance turned into more than $200,000 in 4 nights. And I know your next question, what it's going to be, Dave, ahead of time. I know you're going to ask how much did Harley get and what was the value of that money.
Well, you bet.
Today's money.
Right.
So I already got the figures for you, man, in advance. Harley got $20,000 for those 4 nights, and it was worth $70,000 in today's money.
Do you remember, I mean, was this another situation Was it one at a time at each of the 4 different venues, paying him off and putting the money in his hand? Do you remember that?
No. I couldn't get to the dressing rooms in some of those buildings, so I had to send the payment.
Wow.
I think I was only able to do it in one of the 4 towns, and I don't know that was even the last night, but I do remember it was a really substantial amount of money.
Yeah.
But wow, that was a 4-day, 4 out of 5 nights. Amazing, every bit of it, all of it. Not just the matches, but the attendances.
Yeah.
Every bit of this particular Studcast to me made this one really, really special.
Well, and I know you know why I'm asking. Was there a special moment with the legendary Harley race? Because you told a story in the past that always reminds me of that. And that's when basically the building was empty and everybody had gone. The wrestlers had already departed the building, and there was a moment there with you and Harley race in private in the dressing room as you handed him the money, and there was an embrace, and he really and this probably was a year or 2 prior even, but he really patted you on the back for what an amazing program you ran, and what a pleasure it was for him to come. He was like Andre the Giant. He loved coming to your market.
Yeah, and that particular match was in 1977, and he got $2,000. This time, this is what we were 4 years later.
Yeah,
he got 20.
Wow.
But that was he got the 2,000 just for the one night in Knoxville. This was 4 nights, but he got $20,000. Wow. It's like, it would have taken me quite a while to pay him the way I did the first time, man.
It's just,
he had to have 2 hands full of money.
Yeah.
It's a dollar bill.
It's amazing how he just electrifies your Harley race, electrified your market when he came to town in all of those different cities, and what a difference he made. These numbers,
and it wasn't just that our territory, Dave.
Yeah.
Wow, he was the consummate, professional, and wow, everywhere he went, he sold out.
No doubt. There's no doubt about that. That's so cool. These numbers just getting bigger and bigger. I don't have the words for what this Studcast has been. I think it's a great gesture on your part to share the opportunity with fans everywhere to hear this tremendous Studcast about such a monumental week and your deal with your new partners. And I really commend you for that. And the time with Harley race, that's just, man, that is so cool. This is the best old school deal out there when you're talking about Harley race. All right, so here are all the places this new Studcast, this one is number 393, episode number 393. It's called Breaking the Bank. And as we always say, available wherever you find your podcast. This is where it's available. It's free for fans around the world. You can find it on Ron's website at tnstud.com under Studcast, on YouTube, Southeastern Rewind, on all the usual podcast outlets. It was previously on, and for the first time, on the Ron Fuller Tennessee Stud Facebook page only. You'll find it there as well. You can go to Ron's Facebook page, literally, and hear this episode there. So if you're not a friend already there, simply like him there, and you too can get this special Studcast. If you want to see the videos and are not on a video platform, I suggest you check it out on YouTube, Southeastern Rewind. It's free this week, where you can see as well. You can see it as well as hear it. All right, this has really been a special Studcast, and we appreciate the opportunity to provide this to you. All right, any final words from you today, Stud?
Well, I want to thank, man, all of those that take us up on this, unique opportunity to hear one of these new Studcasts with videos in it from the original TV shows 44 years ago. And if you'd like to be a part of the old school experience, basically, you can subscribe to TennesseeStudStreaming.com. Please take care of yourselves and others, and may God bless us all.
Another great one, Ron, for Ron Fuller in the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. I'm David Summers saying thank you for listening. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/DSummers955. On Twitter, now known as X, Dave_Doin. On Instagram, it's Instagram.com, David Summers Productions. And hit me up anytime at davidsummersproductions@gmail.com. This Studcast is a David Summers production for Tennessee Stud LLC.
Thanks for joining us today for this historic Studcast. The true story continues next week. So full Nelson your friends and point them in our direction for another ride with the Tennessee Stud.
1, 2, 3.
This is David Summers saying so long from the Great Smoky Mountains.